Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm going to do a Q&A. I asked you guys over on my Instagram. It was under this photo over here. I asked you guys to send in any questions that you had and I'm going to answer them today. I am going to try to pick questions that I haven't answered before, but I'll leave some of my other Q&A videos below in the description box in case you guys want to check those out as well. So the Gracious Gift asks, where do you take inspiration for all your healthy recipes from? I get a lot of inspiration from when we go out. If we go to, restaurants, they could either be like healthy restaurants where they have bowls and curries and salads and things like that. I'll try to recreate those at home. But even if we go to a traditional restaurant and there's something that I really like, I try to make that but in a healthier version. So for example, using healthier pastas, and instead of cheese I might use avocado and hummus. So trying to make those little switches I think is always quite fun and like a nice kind of challenge. From not being so healthy to a little bit healthier but still making it taste really good. You can do the same thing with cookies and like little protein bars and things like that. But mostly, as you guys can see from my what I ate today's, I like to keep things really simple and straightforward and not too complicated, and not always having everything come from a recipe, because that would just be kind of too complicated for me and I maybe wouldn't be eating as healthy as I try to. On that note as well, I think Instagram is an amazing place to get inspiration for different recipes. There are so many great accounts. I'm gonna have some of them below in the description box. And then if I'm ever just craving something, I'll just type it into Google. I'll try to find a recipe for it and like a healthier version of recipe. So yes, I hope that answers that question. The next question is, have you ever dealt with anxiety? If so, how did you overcome it? I think the term anxiety is a really broad term, especially in today's world. I think there are more milder forms of anxiety and then there are more severe forms of anxiety. And I've never experienced a severe form of anxiety where I felt like a heavy pressure on my chest, or I know that some people have really bad experiences and feelings when it comes to having like an anxiety attack, where they literally feel like they're gonna have a heart attack. It's that bad. But if I felt anxiety in terms of feeling stressed or overwhelmed, or like I feel trapped in a sense, yes. For me, something that's always helped me is anchoring myself in my breath. I have talked about this in a few other videos, but I think it's really important, and it's something that we can all do at any moment. It doesn't require any external thing or person or anything. This is something that we can, tune in from ourselves. It's something that I first learned about when I started doing yoga about like 10, probably like 12 years ago now. And in yoga, the breath is really important. That is what anchors you, and that is what you should be focusing on during your practice. So if I'm ever feeling stressed or overwhelmed, or even if I just feel like I really need to focus and concentrate, trying to find my breath and just keeping the attention, just being totally focused on your breath and feeling your breath. So feeling the air as it brushes, up against your nostrils and how it goes down in your throat and then into your lungs, how your lungs expand, and then following the breath back out. This process is so relaxing and is so centering, and our brains and our minds, if we don't give them structure and if we don't train ourselves to focus on what we want to focus on, then things like that can happen a lot easier. And when I mean things like that, I mean like, anxiety and losing control of ourselves and of our emotions. So we always have to remember to just come back and anchor ourselves, and I think the breath is an amazing way to do that. You can practice this throughout the day if you feel yourself getting stressed, but it's also something that you can practice in the mornings as part of a routine, like a little meditation routine in the mornings, where you just kind of train that muscle, and then you can use this technique throughout the day if you do feel yourself getting stressed or anxious. On that note as well, there is a breathing technique that is really simple that I love. Mo uses it as well when he's feeling stressed, and that is to breathe in for 2 or 3 counts and then breathe out for double as long as that. So it would be breathing in and then breathing out. You don't have to make those but it's just, you know, the counts. So breathing in for 2 or 3 counts and then breathing out for 4 or 6 counts. And that longer exhalation on the way out is really calming and really centering. And that is something that I would hugely recommend if you do suffer with anxiety or if you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed. The next question is, what are your top wardrobe / accessory staples? If I had to pick like 5 items, let's stay with 5 items. So I would definitely say a nice handbag. I think a good handbag can just dress up at the most simple, basic outfit that you could have, you know, not spent that much money on. But if you have like a nice handbag, I think it always elevates it. So I would say number 1 is a great handbag. Second, I would say little white tops like this. I wear these with almost everything, like with jeans, with skirts, under jackets, under sweaters. They are such a staple for me. I think they're so classic, and I love a good white top as well because I feel like it makes you look a little bit more tanned and like a little bit more bright. Then I think a good pair of white sneakers as well. They're great with jeans, with dresses, skirts, kind of like a casual, laid back but still chic look, you know, so like a good pair of white sneakers. A great pair of jeans as well. I'm in jeans a lot of the time, so I would definitely say good pair of jeans. And then the last thing I would say is good jewelry, like good gold, simple type of jewelry that you can layer. These necklaces, for example, I love. They are from Missoma. They're quite thin and like dainty. They do have little charms on them, but very simple, you know, nothing like too much. And then these earrings are really fun. They are from Zara. So I love like little gold jewelry and things like that. I think that's a really great accessory. The next question is, how many days do you work out and for how long? What do you do on rest days in relation to exercise? So right now I'm doing the fall challenge, which I mentioned to you guys in my last video. If you haven't seen that, I will have it linked down below. But one of the challenges in the fall challenge is the movement challenge, which is to move every single day. It's to do some type of exercise every single day. And that's something that I've actually been practicing for a pretty long time now. Like the last, I would say 2 months, since about July, I've been really consistent with daily movement. That doesn't always mean that I'm going to the gym and doing, you know, an intense workout, but it does mean to do some type of movement where you're moving your body, you're getting yourself active. But when I do go to the gym and I do my more intense workouts, they usually last for about 60 minutes. That's like my goal time. I think that's a great amount of time if you're really using it properly and you're not like spending too much time, you know, checking your phone and resting and things like that. But if you go in and you give like your all for 60 minutes, I think that's great. So I do that an average of like 4 times per week. Sometimes it's a little bit more depending. And then on my rest days, I will either do a walk. We have a park near our apartment, so I will sometimes do like an hour walk in the park, or I'll do just a gentle yoga class at home. I'm obsessed with Boho Beautiful. She has some amazing, very relaxing classes, and then she also does some more intense ones. I would highly recommend her channel. I will also have that linked below. I'll have a lot of things to link in this video. But if I'm feeling completely exhausted, like if I feel like I'm getting sick, or I am, you know, I'm PMSing and I have really bad cramps or whatever it is, then I will give myself a rest day. But it's very rare. I do like to move my body. I like to get out of the house, you know, stay active. Even if it's just a 20-minute walk, I do try to do something every single day because it makes me feel good and it's good for my body as well. So it is definitely a priority in my day. The next question is, I know you said you went through a tough time where you had to move back in with your parents. I would appreciate if you could tell us what you went through and how you got through it. I did talk about this in my last Q&A, but I didn't go so much into detail about this. I think that's what this question is asking for. So back a few years ago, like maybe 5 years ago now, or 6 years ago, I had left New York where I had my own apartment and I had my security and I felt amazing when I lived there. After that, I moved to London, which I also loved. I had a little apartment there and it was really great. And at the time I was in a relationship, and that relationship brought me to Dubai. And although I really wanted that to work, it just didn't work, and then I had to leave. And keep in mind, at that point I did not have my own apartment, so we were living together, which always makes it a bit more complicated. I just knew in my heart that it wasn't the right situation for me. It had nothing to do with the country, like Dubai and all that. It has nothing to do with that. It was just the situation of that relationship. So I decided to leave, and I spent a little bit of time with my dad and then some time with my mom. But when I was at my mom's place, that was really when I felt ready and steady again to get my own apartment and my own car and, you know, step out of that. Because when I moved into my mom's place, I didn't feel 100% stable. I had just kind of changed a big road in my life where I thought my life was heading one way, and then I decided not to do that. So I felt kind of shaken up, you know. I didn't feel like I had a strong ground yet on, you know, my own 2 feet. So I stayed with my mom for about half a year or so, and it was actually such a nice experience because I got to spend so much time with them, where, you know, I lived in New York for 5-6 years before that, so I hadn't seen them so much. It was just a really nice and solid amount of time that I had with my family that I had missed for a long time as well. So looking back, I really do love that part. But then again, it's not the most like comfortable thing, you know, in the world, having to move back in with your parents and not having like your own space and your own kitchen and, you know, your own furniture and, you know, things like that. But I love that my parents are so supportive of me, and they took me in and they just like nurtured me back to my vibrant self. So I'm really grateful for that experience and that time. Again, it wasn't always easy, but I feel like looking back, it was definitely the right thing to do. So I was living with my parents, but I was still working. I wasn't just like sitting on the couch. I was in fact so motivated and so inspired again to make videos and create content and just really work my butt off, really. I was so motivated that I finally could get back on my feet. I also think when you're in that situation, it does motivate you more because you want to get back and you want to, you know, get your own apartment again and have your own life again. So sometimes when life feels like it's knocking you over and, you know, it's difficult, just take that as ammunition to go back and fight even harder and do even better in your life. And that's definitely, thankfully, what it did for me at the time. I think I could have also just like crumbled and maybe gone through a really bad depression, but thankfully, with the support of my family and just trying to keep myself level-headed and focused on what it is that I wanted to do, I got out and I did pretty well. I'm still working on myself every single day, and there's still so many things that I want to achieve, but I was then able to get my own apartment, to buy a car, and go on and have some really great life experiences. And now I'm really happy. If you are going through something similar, just keep swimming, keep going, don't give up. Everything happens for a reason, even if it sounds cliche, it totally does. Always do your best and be kind and keep your standards high. Like, don't lower yourself to get back at somebody or, you know, to try to get revenge. I truly feel like God just handles all of that on his own. It's not something that we have to go out and try to do, because then we kind of soil ourselves, you know, in the process of doing that. Just keep going, keep your standards high, and everything will be fine, trust me. The next question is, what are your tips for staying energized through dark and cold fall winter months? So this is something that I definitely deal with and that I myself probably need some more advice on. I definitely go through little bits of seasonal depression myself, where if I don't see the sun or if it's really dark and just really cold, I'm just not at my best. This is something that I have shared with you guys more so throughout last winter. But for me, something that does work pretty well is when I'm consistent with a good morning routine and how I want to kind of set up my day and set up my mindset. I think that's really important, because that is something that we can, for the most part, have a choice. How we feel is often based on how we choose to feel. So reminding myself of that daily, reminding myself I choose to feel good. You know, like these little affirmations that, again, maybe seem like a little bit corny or cheesy, but it really really does have an effect on your inner energetic feeling. So one of the things in my morning routine is working out, and that's something that regardless of if it's raining, snowing, or a beautiful bright sunny day, doing a great workout, it always makes me feel really, really good, and it will always give me those endorphins and that serotonin. So that's something that I think works even, you know, in cold and gray winter days. So exercise, a good morning routine. The next question is, how do you imagine your life with husband and kids? Since you have a full time now for yourself, do you think you can handle your routines when you have children? Thank you for your question. So I cannot wait to have kids. Like, first of all, I am so excited for that moment. I've been wanting that since I was a little girl. That was something that was always like a dream for me. So when that moment comes, my child will definitely be my priority, but I still want to keep working. I still want to keep myself feeling good, because I know that if I'm not at my best, I'm not going to be able to give my child my best. So I want to make sure that I keep taking care of myself and keep trying to fill my own cup first, so that I can give to others the best possible way. With that said though, I don't have a child right now, so I don't know exactly how I would do that. I think a lot of that happens when you do have the child, and then you can, you know, figure out how you would manage your day and what you can do. I definitely think having people to help you, like your family to help you, or if you have to hire somebody to help you. I'm definitely a person who loves to do everything, who loves to control what I can, you know, and do my best at it. But I've heard from so many parents and moms, and new moms especially, that it's sometimes just not possible. So I'm definitely open to that as well. But like, to answer your question, my child will definitely be my priority. But one thing that I know for sure is that I'm going to keep myself healthy and feeling happy and good, because then I can, you know, give that energy and that goodness to my child and to my husband as well. I think that's really, really important, to not lose yourself when you become a mother, because I think your intention might be good, like you want to give your all to your child and you want to just devote yourself to that. But if we lose touch with ourselves during that process, that's also not beneficial, you know. So I think finding a good balance there is going to be really interesting, and I will definitely take you guys along with me for that time of my life when that does happen. The next question is, you look so gorgeous, thank you. What are your wishes for your wardrobe in fall winter 2019-2020? So I've actually had my eye on this Maxmara coat that I've been wanting for years. It's a super classic coat from Maxmara, and I feel like I've tried it on almost every year, but I never get it because it is quite expensive. But I think it'll be a really good like investment piece that I can keep wearing, you know, every single winter. So that's definitely on my on my radar. The next question is, do you drink any alcohol? Wine? How often? I wouldn't say I'm a huge drinker, not at all, but I do like a glass of wine from time to time. Like sometimes it'll be on the weekends if we go to a restaurant, but I can go months without drinking. So it's more of like a nice once in a while kind of thing. Mo and I like to drink a Riesling, which is a white wine, a little bit on the sweeter side, but not too sweet, you know. And if we're ever out at like a lounge or a bar or something like that, my go-to drink is normally a gin tonic. I like that it's pretty light and not like too strong and not too sweet, not too complicated. It's just pretty like straightforward, but I think it's really good. Those are the questions that I'm gonna answer in this video, but because there are so many good ones, I'm gonna sit down a little bit later today and go through them and answer them on my blog. I will have a link for that blog post down below in the description box, so I'll answer more of the questions over there. So if you want to check that out, I will have it below. I hope you're all having a beautiful day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.